Another door to European citizenship by investment has just slammed shut, and it could be the final nail in the coffin for European citizenship by investment programs. So if you've been thinking of buying a golden passport or retiring abroad in Europe or just having a European escape plan, then your options are shrinking, and I have all the details for you in this video today. I'm breaking down what this news means, who's affected by it, and what the other viable residency and citizenship options are in Europe. And at the end of this video, I'll also give you my take on whether or not this was affected by any differences in the geopolitical landscape that we currently find ourselves in. So what actually happened here? Well, last month, the European Court of Justice ruled that Malta's Citizenship by Investment program, which is officially the Malta Exceptional Investor Program, was deemed unlawful and essentially needs to be shut down immediately. They really didn't mince words over this, with one spokesperson saying that European passports are not for sale. So that's their position on that. And really the big uproar about this is that Malta was really one of the last golden passport programs in Europe where it's really pay for play for a substantial sum, upwards of 600, 700,000 euro plus a residence requirement. Investors could buy a Maltese passport, which is an extremely powerful passport, actually in the top 7 most powerful passports in the world, according to the Henley Passport Index. And the big issue with this from the European court's perspective is that people were buying these passports in Malta, but they had no cultural, socioeconomic, tax-related ties to the country. They're basically getting the passport within a year, up to 36 months, and then leaving and going to live in other places. It's not just the European court that was upset about this, but also Maltese citizens who weren't really receiving any direct benefit from this program. Now, this is a different narrative from what you'll hear from the political side, the powers that be, and I have some quotes here for you. Apparently, this program since 2014, 2015 has generated about 1.4 billion euro or 1.6 billion US dollars for someone in Malta. Who that is or who those people, agencies, and organizations are, it's unclear to me. Allegedly, that this money has funded investments in social housing, healthcare, sports, and culture. But where does this money go? Well, a survey from a local foundation in Malta found that most of the recipients of this golden passport program didn't actually live in Malta. And of the ones that did, they paid the minimum required rent per year, which is around 10,000 to 12,000 euro per year. So that is pretty interesting that these multimillionaires who are buying golden passports are living in Malta or Gozo for the minimum amount of rent per month that probably all of us are paying more than that for our rent. And out of all of the 2,500 golden visa requests that were analyzed, only 67 applicants opted to buy a property. The rest were just paying this minimum requirement for the rent. So it's really a case of trickle-down economics. Did this 1.6 billion euro go to the people of Malta, or where did that go? So there was actually a report by the Financial Action Task Force and the OECD about widespread misuse of residency and citizenship by investment programs in a lot of different countries, including Malta. They found things like a lack of oversight over the verification of where this money is coming from outside of the country, money laundering, corruption, bribery of public officials, and other criminal activities. So this is serious stuff. Another critique is where these people are coming from. So in 2020, with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, a lot of countries canceled their residency and citizenship by investment programs to try to prevent oligarchs from moving to the UK, Australia, New Zealand, places like that. In Malta, actually, Chinese nationals are the top recipients of these golden passports. It says 9 out of every 10 applicants is Chinese, according to a report by the Daphne Galizia Foundation. And again, only 7% of those people people actually buy property there. So what the EU court is saying is that a member state of Europe can't just grant its nationality and European citizenship to foreigners. This is something that affects the entire European Union and basically renders the European culture and a benefit of having a European passport down to a commercial transaction. And where these people go after they get the passport, I do not know. So the ruling actually says that Malta is violating EU law by selling citizenship, and that citizenship must be linked to a genuine connection to the country, living there, learning the language, passing a citizenship test when you're getting that citizenship. And in many countries, it can take easily 10 years to get citizenship by naturalization. That's not just in Europe, but that's in the rest of the world as well. So it's not clear what happens to the people who have already applied for this program before it was deemed unlawful, but they definitely are under scrutiny. It does seem like people that already have the passports are safe, but that's to be confirmed. And it's also really a sign to other countries and programs elsewhere that this is not going to be a viable option moving forward. Now, there are still a lot of countries that do offer citizenship by investment, especially in the Caribbean, countries like St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and also Vanuatu in the South Pacific. But if you are thinking of actually moving to Europe and you want to get permanent residency or citizenship someday, the good news is that this doesn't completely preclude you from doing that. All of the more legitimate residency and citizenship by naturalization paths remain open. So if you're looking to retire in Europe, somewhere like France, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Ireland, there are still options there. There's also visa options if you'd like to work abroad, if you'd like to start a business. They have startup visas throughout Europe, freelancer visas, digital nomad visas. So if you're looking to really set ties and put down roots in a European country, you do have options to be able to do that without just, buying a piece of real estate or buying a passport. Countries such as Spain and Portugal have ended the real estate category of their golden visas. There's still other investment options for getting residency there, but you can't just straight up buy a passport there. And even in Greece, which has a residency by investment program in real estate, it's really difficult to actually get Greek citizenship after that. And you really do have to prove those language and cultural ties to the country. So does this have anything to do with the new US administration or any of the other geopolitical changes that we've seen in the world lately? I genuinely don't think so. These changes have been in the works for many years. As I mentioned, back in 2020 with the war in Ukraine, a lot of countries ended their citizenship and residence by investment programs, especially throughout Europe. We had Bulgaria, Cyprus ending its program, more recently Portugal and Spain. And even back in 2022, the European Commission took Malta to court over this same issue. So this is something that's been lodged in the court system for a while. There's been resistance from the EU side and Brussels, and also from internally in the country of Malta, of citizens and organizations and even politicians that are against this type of program. So I think it's just, the timing that's happening right now, it's something that's been coming for a long time, but fortunately there are still plenty of viable options if you would like to reside abroad temporarily or permanently. And if that is something that you'd like to do and you'd like some help with choosing a destination and figuring out which countries have the right programs for you, then I would be happy to help. I've been helping people move abroad for the last 20 years, and my team and I are standing by to help you. You can fill out an application on my website, which is travelingwithkristin.com/relocation, or scan the QR code on the screen and apply for a free call with our team. If you love these topics and want to stay on top of breaking news in the international world, then you can subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and I'll also leave more links to videos about getting citizenship and residency abroad.